All right, it's 9:30 p.m. West Coast time on Saturday, uh, August 12th, I think. If there is one thing that we have learned over the last 3 or 4 days following the tragic and horrific assassination of Charlie Kirk, if there is one thing that we have learned about that event and the events uh, and the circumstances following that event, and I do not condone political violence in any way, shape, or form. But if there is one thing that we have learned, it is that straight white people who support Donald Trump and Charlie Kirk, if there is one thing that we have learned about those people, is that they are absolutely obsessed with transgender women who may or may not still have penises. I have never seen another category of our society or culture who are more obsessed with the genitalia of other people and trans women who may or may not have penises than these allegedly straight white people who still support Donald Trump in September of 2025. I mean, it's like the guy who shot and killed Charlie Trump was a heterosexual, cisgendered 22-year-old white man who was a groper. He was a dedicated follower of Nick Fuentes, who is a virulent anti Semite and who had an ongoing feud with Charlie Kirk over Charlie Kirk's continued support of Israel and his willingness to place the interests of Israel ahead of the interests of the United States. Um, that's what the whole Groper movement is based on. I mean, it's like you have MAGA, you have Charlie Kirk, and way over here to the right of all of that, you have Groypers. Um, and I think Nick Fuentes may have been on the receiving end of oral sex from another man named Destiny. I'm not quite sure about that. That's alleged. I don't know that that's been proven, but many people are saying. Um, but it's like MAGA, Charlie Kirk, Groypers, Nick Fuentes, that whole crowd, people who still support Donald Trump. If if there is one lesson to be taken away from the events of the last several days, it's that all of these people are completely 100% obsessed with, their minds are completely preoccupied with envisioning, picturing, seeing, fantasizing about penises, whether they may or may not be attached to trans women. It's just like, it's like so many penises with MAGA and Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes, allegedly, and the Groypers. It's just like, because, you know, it was reported earlier today that the heterosexual, cisgendered white man, Republican Groper, raised by Republican white parents who support Donald Trump. The grandma said the entire family supports Donald Trump. Um, he grew up with guns at the encouragement of his parents. He could make that shot. He could make that shot, and apparently he did. Tragically, I mean, I do not support or condone political violence in any way, shape, or form. But it's like that whole arena is just obsessed with penises and whether or not they may be attached to trans women. And allegedly, the shooter's roommate was trans. I don't know if the roommate had a penis, but I know that all of these people over here have spent, I mean, according to news reports, I'm not saying this is according to news reports, all of these people over here have spent the entire day thinking about whether or not that roommate has a penis. They've allegedly, it's been reported, spent the entire day thinking about that roommate's penis and how that penis, whether that penis exists or not, had any influence or impact over the shooter at the moment that the shooter pulled that trigger, whether or not the shooter, when that shooter pulled that trigger, was thinking about whether or not his alleged trans roommate did or did not have a penis. And it's like my heart goes out to these people, because it's like, I mean, how many penises can you think about at any given moment? I mean, these people over here are clearly thinking about, contemplating, picturing, envisioning so many penises, and what the people who have those penises, what those people are doing with those penises at any given moment, and whether or not those people who have those penises, are those people trans? And are those trans people who may or may not actually, I don't know if they do, but those trans people, whether or not they have those penises. And then it's like the shooter, he's up on the roof and he's thinking about, and there's all these people, there's Trump, there's MAGA, there's Charlie Kirk, there's Stephen Miller. I mean, has anybody ever even seen Stephen Miller's penis? Do we know? Does he have? Well, he has a kid. So, I mean, kind of abstract, empirical evidence might suggest that Stephen Miller does have a penis, but how did Stephen Miller's penis impact the shooter at the moment that the shooter did the thing, when the shooter was thinking clearly about his trans roommate and whether or not that trans roommate had a penis? I mean, I don't know how everybody on the right keeps track of all of these penises. I mean, there are so many penises going on. It's just like penis. It's like, and who are these penises attached to? And are those penises attached to the right people, or are they attached to the wrong people? I mean, it's like, is it an anti-American penis? I mean, what are you going to do with an anti-American penis? I don't know. But I bet Stephen Miller knows what to do with an anti-American penis. Many people are saying that's alleged. I don't have any specific facts in that regard, but I bet Stephen Miller knows what to do with an anti-American penis. And then it's like, there's Steve Bannon. I mean, the bathtub meth impresario himself with 9 shirts. And how many penises